Hi, this is Bridget with Life on Spectrum, and I mentioned earlier in a different episode that there are 8 different sections of an IEP. Now, the IEP could look different for per state and per district, but each state and district has to have these 8 sections. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about Section 1. Section 1 is called Special Considerations. Believe it or not, it's probably one of the easiest sections of the IEP. Generally, it is a checkbox form that this case manager has to complete and fill out. Now, the first thing that they actually talk or say for yes or no is visual impediments or blindness for your son or daughter. If they do not have any of these needs, they check off no. If they check off yes, then that means they actually need some visual needs within their IEP. The second one is deaf or hard of hearing. If your student has deaf or hard of hearing as one of their needs, this box needs to be checked yes. If not, of course, it's no. The next one is communication needs. Generally, this is anything dealing with speech and language. Generally, if your student is autistic, this box will be marked yes because they need the social pragmatics or the social skills, or also working with a speech and language pathologist for many different reasons. So that box generally will be checked yes if they have any of those needs. The other thing is the assistive technology. This is debatable. Some students need the assistive technology, some do not. Please look at that episode about assistive technology to help you out and clarify if your son or daughter could possibly benefit from that. If they received assistive technology services, then that should be checked yes, but if not, of course, check no. The next one is English proficiency, and a lot of people get confused with English proficiency. English proficiency does not deal with they communicate well or if they can read well. Believe it or not, it deals with what we used to call English as a second language. They no longer call it that way. They call it, English proficiency. If you have a second language or your primary language at home is a different language, let's say Spanish or German or whatever the case may be, this box may be checked off yes because the English is possibly a problem within the education process. So English proficiency does not deal with reading or writing in a typical sense. It deals with their primary language at home and at school. The next one is behaviors that impede their education. Now, this is a tricky box. Yes and no. Of course, most typical students might have some behaviors that involve, that hinder their education. But usually this box is marked off if they have a positive behavioral support plan or a behavioral plan of some sort. This could be just something simple as giving them 3 choices if they start to have a meltdown. That box could be marked off yes because of the behavior that does sometimes impede their education. So don't be offended if that box is marked off. It just means that the school and the teachers need to be aware that there is a behavioral plan of some sort within the IEP. The last box is other. Now, I hate this other box, and I'll tell you why. Nobody specifically tells us what we should put in other. However, generally speaking, if your son or daughter is receiving different services for fine motor skills, large motor skills, or autistic support, I would generally have them put that in the other box because it covers all of your bases and it shows that the state that when they do an audit for special education, that those services are also being provided for your son or daughter. So hopefully that kind of sums up Section 1. It's very basic and it's just yes and no check boxes generally. And like I said, as long as you understand the 7 or 8 different topics, you'll be okay at your IEP meeting. Well, this is Bridget with Life on Spectrum. Thanks for watching that episode, and make sure you come back and join us again for upcoming videos. They'll be uploaded almost on a daily basis. Also, if you really enjoyed us, like us below, or even leave a comment for us to respond back to. And if for all of you that are really involved in the Life on Spectrum, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you. We hope that this is worthwhile for you, and we'll see you next time on Life on Spectrum.